Guys, it's finally time. We are sacrificing the golden goat, the axial Capra. But we're gonna make it even better, and I'm building an LCG rig, because I've heard rumors there's a competition maybe coming up in the next few months. I haven't ever built a rig for a competition, so I think this is a good time to start. Last year, a good friend of mine, Sean, let me have a go on his LCG rig, and I really liked it. And quite a few of you liked it as well. It actually done quite well. It's quite a popular video. I know I said, is this the next big thing? And a lot of you said, they've been out for ages, and yeah, they have. But for us in the UK, it's a newish thing. I'd never really seen them before. I've not got one, so it's time to build one. And the reason I'm using a Capra, it's the only rig I've really got that's an easy transition over to that style of build. Let's have a look at what I've got. So loads of nice parts down here. I've got some trill, we've got a reef servo, bits and pieces, got some shocks. I can't remember the make of them. Let me put it on the screen now. But these are the shocks, I've got to build them. I got Punk's custom wheels, they're carbon fibre. I've already built 3, I've saved one to show you, but you can see these have got like a reflective paint on them, so they go from green to purple. I've got purple spaces in this one, and then I've got green spaces in this one. We've got an Element Stealth X gearbox, that's one of the best. Well, I really like these and they're rated really highly, so I've got that to sort. Trill front and rear axles, that's the front. The trill stuff is just really nice quality. So trill front and rear axles, trill steering knuckles, outer portal covers, servo bracket, brass third member, and an overdrive for the front. Got a Reefs 444 servo. It should be ideal for this this build. There's bigger, faster, more powerful servos, but this one is a decent, I don't want to say entry level, because it's definitely not an entry level. That's a decent Reef servo to start with. And the chassis we're using is G-Speed. Now this was introduced to me last year as well, G-Speed, never heard of them before. That's the chassis it is. Also got the correct spacers, and we've got a monkey skid as well. So as you can see, I've already built a few of the wheels. I will build one on camera so you can see how they go together. Really easy to go together. Once you've got to grips with one, the others go together super quick. Not looking forward to building the shocks, because I hate building shocks, but we'll get them done. I'm just waiting for some oils for them. But the first thing I'm going to do is we're going to pull the Capra apart. This is running a Hobby Wing axe system, and for the time being, I'm going to use the axe system on this build. I want to try and use as much as I can of the Capra for this build. So the links and stuff like that, you can get different links and stuff. But for the time being, we're going to build it with what we got, and then we're going to see where we are. I might add a few other bits. I'm going to try and just do this video over 2 parts, because no one really likes a 10-part build video. So I'm going to try and do it on 2 parts. So by the end of this video, I want the wheels built, I want the suspension done, I want the chassis on, I want it all rolling. It's going to be a class 2 rig, so it can be a Lexan or a hard body. And then once we've got it into a rolling chassis, we'll then talk about the body options, and I'll talk about why I've chosen purple and green for the colours. Let's crack on, let's pull the goat apart. I think that's all I'm going to need from this Capra. We've got a box full of bits in there. So sacrificing the Capra for just the axle internals. Anyway, let's put all this to one side. Let's get myself a mat. I don't want to get my carpet dirty. Right, strip the axles down, and then we can crack on with the trill ones. I like putting trill axles together. It's just nice and satisfying when you finish them and they're looking nice and pretty. I really like the Capra, it's a decent rig. I just never really used it. A lot of people do comment on, you know, all the cheap stuff I do, but I do have some expensive stuff. But this kind of proves it. The Capra, it's probably been out twice. It's probably been out twice since I've had it, and some of my FTXs have been out multiple times. Even though the Capra is awesome and it cost me a fortune, I just don't use it. So not only do I review lots of cheaper stuff, I actually run cheaper stuff, and I quite often prefer taking out cheaper stuff as well. I think there's sometimes a little bit more satisfaction out of something that costs 10 times less than this thing. This thing cost me over like $1,000 or £1,000, I can't remember. And some of my FTX I get much more enjoyment out of. Anyway, let's come back when I've finished taking all this Vitavon stuff off. I'm going to strip the rear axle down first, get the trill one fitted, and then the front one. We'll do the front one last. So nice and simple to strip it down, all comes apart nice and easy. I've removed the bearings from the portals, stuck them in the trill one, comes with bearings for the third member and stuff. So it just goes back together, the reverse of how you take it apart. If you've never done anything like this before, it's worth, you know, I'd say it's worth doing it, even if you're a bit worried about it. Just take your time. Remember where stuff goes. If you need to, take photos so you remember where stuff goes. Put the fixings in groups so you don't get them all mixed up. I usually group them together. So if I take all these 4 out, I'll put them in a pile together so that I know that they're part of a set. But have a go, have a crack at it. You might enjoy it. Right, grease. Don't forget grease. I just use normal marine grease. Loads of different options out there, but marine grease is waterproof, so just keep some of the crap out. I never pack it too full either, because if you pack too much in there, it adds a bit of restriction. I like to just put a finger in there, finger a bit of grease in, you're good to go. Don't forget your bearings. Don't lose your bearings. Slide your shafts in. Shouldn't really be any restriction on that. It should slide in relatively easy. Like that. Doing build videos takes forever. Doing all the different bits and pieces, recording it, making sure you record the right bits, making sure you do it in order, getting stuff right. When things go wrong, you have to kind of start again or try again. I love building. I absolutely love building stuff, but I absolutely hate making videos building stuff. I'd rather just get it out of the box, plug it in, go and play. But I do love building. So think of this as a treat that I'm making a video building something, even though I don't like making videos of building something. So on the rear at the moment, we're just using the standard axle plastic covers. Just for now, I might add some weight at a later date, but we're sticking with the stock ones for now. Rather than throwing everything on at once, I want to get quite a bit of weight up front, see how that goes, and then we'll start adding some more weight if need be. Right, I'm going to get this one finished, then we're going to crack on with the front one. Loads more to put on the front. So obviously we've got the front axle, then we've got the trill steering knuckles, then the outer portal covers go on the steering knuckles, third member to go on, and then the lovely trill servo mount. Slightly different on the front because we're changing the gearing, so we're going to overdrive the front. So what that basically means is the front wheels, they're overdriven, so they're going to be going faster than the rear, which gives you a little bit more grip, a little bit more control, I believe. I'm not 100% sure on why you overdrive the front. I just know that it makes them better. And it's definitely something to do with their crawling ability. And particularly when they're climbing, the front pulling it along gives you a bit better control. So you should be able to see there the stock pinion is a bit bigger than this one. So this will be a smaller pinion on there. Then you've got a slightly larger crown wheel there. Right, we've skipped forward a tiny little bit. Both axles are finished. Oh, I just love the quality of this. I know I always say it, but everything finished. I ordered the trill hexes last night, so we've got some of them coming. I'd already put the stock ones back on, but we'll wait. They should be here tomorrow. Ordered them from GCRC. That's the UK distributor of trill stuff. I'll leave a link to Gareth's eBay in the description. Anyway, so I've got them coming. I'm gonna get the 444 servo, and that also came from GCRC. So yeah, let's get it out. Do you know, this is the poshest servo I've ever had. It's definitely the most expensive servo I've ever had. It looks nice, doesn't it? 444 ounces, and that's why it's called the 444. I saw a bit of testing on it and it didn't quite meet that, but it's a nice quick servo, should be ideal for this. So there's a general misconception about titanium and its strength. Titanium certainly is strong, but still is just as strong or stronger. The only reason we use titanium, the only reason people think titanium is superior, is because its strength to weight ratio is a lot higher than steel. When we don't need to worry about weight, steel is the better material to go for in most cases. Right, next on the list is the G-Speed low centre of gravity chassis. So the G-Speed chassis, nice light composite. I've got the Vader monkey skid, which I believe is the correct one I need for the StealthX gearbox. Some sliders, I think, are they called sliders? I don't know. No fixings with this, but luckily with all the Trill stuff, I got loads there. And I got loads spare from the Capra, so I'm going to get this together. I'm not exactly sure how it goes together, so I'm going to do a little bit of digging first, have a look around online. I'm going to get this thing built. I'm not going to record building it because it looks like it's pretty simple. And then I need to look at building the shocks. Right, let's get this done. Right, we've come to a bit of a stop on this because I can't put my monkey skid on until I've put my links in. But these aren't the links I'm using because I've bought some others again, so we've changed the plan. I was going to use the stock links, but I've bought some high clearance links, brass ones, and I can't remember what the others are. It begins with a D, but they're really slippery. Dirian, or something like that. Anyway, so we've got links coming again from GCRC. They will be here tomorrow, so I can get the links fitted to the monkey skid. Then we can fit it on there with the sliders. And then that's the chassis pretty much together. Really simple to put together. So while we're waiting for them, I need to build my StealthX gearbox. Whoa, I'm gonna break my gears. So we're gonna get that built. So you can change the gearing in here, so you can overdrive the front with the element stuff. This one, I think it's 12% is the highest you can go. You can actually get a 20% one, which I'm not going to do. I'm just going to go for the 12%. We're already overdriving the front. I'm going to stick 12%. I know that a lot of people do the 20 odd, but I'm just going to go for the stock StealthX gearbox. Let's get that on. Let's get the axe in it. And then that's another thing that's ready to go. Right, it has been a few days. I had to wait for some parts. I was waiting for some shock oils because I didn't have any, well, I didn't have any of the right ones. I had to get some tools and some longer rod ends, as you can see on that inner one there. So I progressed a little bit further, skipped a few bits, so I do apologise. But as you can see, all the links are on now. Just twist these high clearance ones around like that. So links are on, no drive shaft on the front yet. Just using the stock Capra drive shaft at the moment on the rear. I'm not sure the front one's going to fit actually. Servo's on, I don't know if I've shown you that. I've got one shock left to do. I've left this one so I can show you how to build them. The droop seems pretty good on the front one. I may have to get some slightly softer springs on the back because it's not, I want it to be pretty much full droop, but I've set the shock up as best I can. I've followed some instructions online, but with the weight on it, it's just not, it just won't go down. That's not a problem, that's something we can work on. This is obviously just the initial build of it and then the tuning will come later. Anyway, let's build this shock. So I've done the three. It's relatively easy actually to put together. So I'm running them with 35 weight oil. So something you will need is some snap ring or circlip pliers. I had to, as you can just see, hang on, I had to grind down the ends of this one. So these kits come with everything you need. The first thing to do is to set up all your O-rings and stuff. I've set them in order. Plastic light washer there, then your first O-ring, then a spacer, then your second O-ring, and then the top plastic washer, and then where did I put it? There it is, and then your snap ring. So plastic spacer first, drop that in, just make sure it sits flat. Then blue O-ring, again, make sure it sits flat. Then your spacer, then another blue O-ring, then you put this flat washer, this plastic washer on like that. Get your snap ring. Now this can be tricky. You have to be quite careful with it. Holding your thumb over it just stops, if it does ping off the pliers, it stops it from disappearing into the abyss. Because that's what happens, isn't it? When these things fly off, you'll never ever find them. So if you get it in and it's sticking out a little bit like that, just get like a little, I've just got like a 1.5mm Allen key. You can just push it like that and it will push it in. And then just to make sure it's sitting correctly, get your circlip pliers again, Get your circuit pliers again, just gently put them on there, and you can just squeeze it very gently like that, just to make sure it's sitting correctly. And that is now in there, and that's not going anywhere. Then what you need to do is put your circlips on the shock shaft. Now these can be a pain. I found these ones though really easy. You can just push them on with your finger. So push the lower one on, like that. Put your piston on, slide that on like that. And then the other one, this is a little bit more tricky. Slide it on so it sits like that. Get a pair of pliers and just gently squeeze it like that. And that's on. Then your shock shaft goes in there. Push it through, slide that out. So put your spring on. Some people you can put an O-ring, you can slide an O-ring over like that, and that will just increase your spring tension a bit, but I'm not going to on this. I've spring on, spring retainer on. Now I don't own some shock pliers, so I just put a bit of Gorilla Tape in some normal pliers. That's to protect your shaft. You should always protect your shaft. Then screw your shock end on all the way out to the end of the thread. Well, I am anyway. And that is that bit done. So this will feel a little bit stiff at the moment. It's because there's no oil in there. So once you get oil in there, it will lube the shaft a little bit, and then it'll make it a lot smoother. Carefully screw that in. Make sure it goes in straight like that. I'm using 35 weight shock oil at the end of the day. I use this all the time, the Fast Track stuff, really good value. It's like £3 a bottle. And at the end of the day, like I said, shock oil is shock oil really, isn't it? So a bit of oil in there, I've probably put a bit too much in, but once I move this shock shaft up and down, it's probably going to go down a bit. So slowly move your shock shaft in and then back down. And you'll see all the air come out. You get some air bubbles in there. Yeah, it's gone down a bit now. Just gently, all you need to do, gently move it up and down. Let that air come out, and it starts to get nice and smooth now. So you can see the level's gone down now. So you might need to top it up a bit. I just leave that sitting for a little while. Leave it sitting for a bit, let the air get out, and then you put your top on. So I've left it for a while. I've got as much air out as I can. Now this is the bit I struggle with usually. Now I want to do this so it's at full droop. I think, and again, this isn't, I'm no expert. I think to get more droop, you have to push it, slowly push it, so the shock shaft is pretty much at the top, but you don't want it to jump out the oil because you'll let air in. Then put your bladder or your diaphragm on, whatever you want to call it. Then put the top on. This could be a little bit tricky because the, you see a bit of oil coming out now. The diaphragms or the bladders are a little bit big, so make sure the top goes on nice and smoothly so it's not catching anything. Tie it down, tighten it down, clean any excess shock oil off. So if you put it together correctly, it should feel nice and smooth like it does there. That feels really smooth. And it should, for me, setting this up like this, when I let go, it should just slowly come back out like that. That to me feels quite good, and when it's sat with weight on it, it should just push it down a little bit. Like I say, I'm not an expert at building shocks. These are the first ones I've properly tried to put together. That's how you put these Dravtech shocks together, the actual setting up of them. There's some better videos than this out there. Right, I'm gonna get this fitted on there, and then we'll quickly build the last wheel, and then I think pretty much it. Right, let's talk about wheels. So these are Punk's Customs. Again, I'm going to leave links to everything in the description. These ones have got like a purple and a green layer put over them. They're carbon fibre. These are GCRC ones. The tyres I'm going to be using are Proline Hyrax. These are the Predator ones, so super soft compound. Now these are pretty easy to put together. Again, there's some videos online, and that's what they look like when they're together. Look really cool. Now I've seen people question, why would you use carbon fibre wheels when you want that weight low down? Now I'm not 100% sure, like I'm not 100% sure on everything, but when you have a light wheel, there's less mass, less turning mass, I think it is what you call it. So for my build, all the weight is in the front. You've got them big you've got the big brass portal covers, you've got the brass third member under there, you've got a lot of weight low down. Oh, and obviously your links here. If you use a nice light wheel, the actual strain on your drivetrain is a lot less using that carbon fibre structure. Anyway, that's my take on it. I might not be completely right, but it makes perfect sense in my head. So tyre, foam in there. Again, I'm just using the stock foams. I'll tune it later. I'll do some extra stuff. I might change the foams out. I might even change the tyres out at some point. But for this build, the initial build, we're going to use the stock foams with the Pro lines. You get 3D printed inserts. You need to make sure that goes in and it's nice and central within the foam there. These are 1.9s. These are 2.2. So we're stretching these over, and I think it gives it a nice look, gives it a nice bit of sidewall on there as well. So get the insert in as best possible. You don't have to get it like 100%, because once you start building the wheel, it will kind of pull it all in together, but get that in. If you're using inserts, you can buy these separately. You need to use the insert now. If you're not using inserts, you use these little spacers, and the spacers would go on this outer ring, but because I'm using an insert, that goes on there. You need the long bolts or screws, pushes through like that. Do all 6, and this pushes on, and again, make sure you've got it. If you've got one that's got reflective, you can get coloured carbon as well, but this one, because it's got that like layer of paint or overspray on it, make sure that's pushed through like that. And then on this side, you want to get these long fixings. Give them a couple of turns on the thread with your hands, like that. Then once they're all on like that, you can just screw them down. 2mm hex, get them down. You don't have to grolly them up, just do them firm, just hand tight. You don't need to be getting any pliers on them, because it'll tighten it all up when you put the wheel together. And then that's your main part of the wheel now, so that's your bead lock there. So then you're going to slot that into your wheel. It may be a bit of a squeeze because it's a 1.9 tyre on this and a 2.2 insert. It's a little bit of a squeeze. Get that in like that, and then what you need to just do is just go around and just slowly pull it. There is a technique to this, but you literally just, you're pulling it over so it sits behind the lip there, just like that. Once you've done that, it should sit relatively well in there. Once you get the back on, you start tightening it down, you can then just pull these out a little bit just to make it sit correctly. But this is the tricky bit here, especially with a small tyre on a bigger rim. Get the rear ring, get a single screw. What you need to do is pull that back and then get that, it's hard to show you on camera, get that single one started. Get a couple of turns on that. You don't need to put it all the way in. A couple of turns on it and you'll end up with it looking like that. And then what you need to do is just pull the wheel round, and you're going to end up with it. You're going to end up with a tie around here, but what you need to do, or what I did, was just wind a couple in, just wind them in as you go around, just a couple of threads. It is the hardest bit of building these. So as you're going around, once you've got, I've got 3 in there, you can then start just pulling the tyre slightly, and there's a very, I don't know if you can, let me see if I can, there's a small like ridge there, and that's what you want to try and get to sit on the edge of this. So you can just slowly pull it around like that. And like I said, it is a bit tricky, this bit, but if you do it carefully, get that on, and then start putting the other fixings in. So once you've got them all in, that's when you can start going around, and what, like I said, what you want to do is make sure that lip is just sitting on the edge like that. Then go around to the front before you start tightening it. Go around to the front. Do the same with the front, so you can see there that little lip. Just make sure that is coming through on there. Don't pull too hard because you might pull it out of the bead, and then that's when you can now start tightening it down. Now I put these in order like that. When you tighten them, go corners or side to side like that, and that will stop the risk of the bead coming out. So do a few turns and just do opposites, making sure that you can see on the inside there It's not like a conventional bead lock where you won't see it. On this one, you can actually see the rubber of the tyre as you go around. That's normal for these, as long as the front is sitting in. Again, you'll be able to, it's hard to see on camera. It's hard to see on camera, but that is just down here. You can keep an eye on that. Make sure that's sitting flush as well. Don't worry if you don't get it right first time. It can be a little bit tricky. This is obviously the 4th wheel I've done, so once you've got them all fixed down, it's a good idea. Go around, check all the front ones. Again, check all the rear, just make sure they're all tight. And then the last bit, put your rear hub adapter on. You may need to, again, just slowly tighten these up one by one just to pull that hub adapter through. It might slide in okay, but on this one, it's a little bit of a tight squeeze. So again, just a couple of turns on each. You just heard that then, little click, that pulls it through nicely. And there it is, a completed wheel. Right, I'm going to get them fitted now. Rolling chassis. There we go. It's looking... We definitely need to do a bit of tuning. It's a bit too high at the back. The front is looking good though. I'm happy with how that looks. I think, because if you see the shock angle there, compared to the rear, the front's also got softer springs on it. That's what's bringing that front end down. So a little bit of tuning. I might need to pull the rear out a little bit. So extend it back a little bit to get a bit of a better shock angle. And maybe tune them shocks a bit to get it sitting down. That's where I really want it. But that's minor stuff. That's part of why I'm doing this build series, to tune it and get it sitting how I want it. And this is the first time I've obviously built one. So we'll get the ESC in. Obviously everything's up. I've put a bit of tape around the front drive shaft. Not that I think that's going to do anything. It's a bit short. We definitely need to work on that. Need a longer one. So we'll get the electronics in. It means I can get this servo squared up so I can connect that. We can give it a quick test run. And then that'll be it for this video. It feels like it's been dragging on for a long time. This build's definitely been dragging on for a long time, my end. But anyway, let's get the electronics in. We've done it. Phase 1 complete. The servo's lined up and lovely and quick. Plenty of power there. Plenty of torque. Nice and silent. That is so smooth. Electronics in. I've tidied up the cabling from the actual motor. I've shortened the battery connector, but we'll do the cable management once it's ready to go. Obviously this is just, we can call it a mock-up. Still stuff to work on, particularly that stance life. Way too high at the back for me. The front though, the front's looking really nice. I've not done any settings either to the ESC, apart from switching the motor direction because it was going the wrong way, but look at it, it looks so nice. Yes. This is cool. First test run. I'd say it's passed its initial tests. Awesome. That's it for this video, guys. Cheers for watching. If you've managed to get all the way to the end, I do appreciate it. Now, I said at the beginning, we were going to talk about why I've chosen green and purple. The theme I'm going for on this, and I'm probably going to change, I'm probably going to switch these, take these inserts out and just go for the spacers, because this green, I think it's going to clash a little bit with the green on there. And this colour combo is what I'm going for. So the theme I'm going for is a Joker theme. Now I know that's actually quite a common thing, not just in the crawler scene, but just in RC cars in general. A lot of people do that Joker, like do the Joker theme. Whereas I'm going to be calling this LO-KER, the Loker. So what I've got to do now is I've got to fine tune this. I'm going to adjust the links, adjust the wheelbase, adjust the suspension. We've got to find the body. We've got to get the body painted. So on the next video, this will be 100% complete and we're going to take it out for its maiden run. Cheers for watching. I'll see you next time.